Guys, what just happened? We just saw the Vision turn on Seth Rollins in one of the greatest endings to Monday Night Raw we've seen in a long time. Now, don't get me wrong, most of us already predicted that this was going to happen the way that it did, but none of us knew that it was going to happen this early. And since they pulled the trigger on the Vision turning on Seth this early, this has sent the IWC into a frenzy where everybody has two different theories as to why this happened. So what I want to do with you guys in this video is this. I want to explore both theories, tell you guys where I lean on it, and I would love to hear what side of the theory do you guys land on. Why do you think this happened? And if you have a third theory, I would love to hear that in the comment section as well. So let's just start off with a quick recap and we'll get into the subject at hand. We saw Braun Breaker hit Seth Rollins with the spear. And as a CM Punk fan, I'm trying to make it through this without being petty because of what happened at SummerSlam, okay? Braun Breaker hit Seth Rollins with the spear. And then we saw Bronson Reed hit Seth Rollins with a tsunami. Now, even though that was crazy, the icing on this crazy cake is that we had the greatest goated groupie of all time in Paul Heyman raising the hands of the Braun Boys. Now, I know what people think. Paul Heyman's in distress. He's scared for his life. He doesn't want to know what's going to happen next. All these different things. And that could be true. But when it comes to Paul Heyman, 9 times out of 10, whenever he's about to switch up on somebody, he always looks like he's in a situation he doesn't want to be in until that plan gets executed. And once it does, then we get that evil, maniacal, the Grinch who stole Christmas smirk on his face to let us know that his plan has been executed the way that he wanted. So I don't trust this guy. Anything that happens to him after what happened at WrestleMania is on him. That's on him. But let's talk about the theories that people have online. So the first theory is this. They're believing that Seth Rollins had to get written off of TV. Why would he be written off of TV? Because there has been this picture circulating online of Seth Rollins and a fan where Seth Rollins have a soft serve vanilla ice cream on an ice cream cone. Why I said the flavor, I don't know. That's just in the picture. It's important to note, I guess. But if you look at his arm, he visibly has a sling on. And it's safe to assume that this injury occurred in his match against Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. Now, there are people out there speculating that this injury is far worse than people think. Now, I'm not mad at people for kind of speculating that, because when it comes to Seth Rollins, he don't just get normal injuries. He get injured and he's out for a while. That's just how it works for him. So they believe it's worse than what we think, and that it probably will keep him out of Saturday Night Main Event, which is in the next couple weeks. So they believe he's going to vacate that title, and he had to get injured or get attacked by the Vision to write him off of TV. And then what's probably going to happen is you're going to get Braun Breaker versus CM Punk for that title. CM Punk will win it that way, and then Seth Rollins will have a problem with CM Punk, of course, and against Braun Breaker. Now, the problem I have with that whole theory is this. If you wanted to write Seth Rollins off of TV, having the Vision, blowing a load on this so early isn't the way that you needed to go, right? You could have had it happen in some random tag match, him getting beat up outside and things like that. Like, you could have done that. You could have had him vacate the title, and if you get Braun Breaker versus CM Punk at Saturday Night Main Event, if you decide to give it to CM Punk, then that'll be cool. But if you don't and Braun Breaker wins it, you can have Seth Rollins tell Braun Breaker, hey, thanks for winning the title. You know, have Braun Breaker get designated by Paul Heyman and tell Seth, like, hey, he can make sure the title stays in the Vision, and when you come back, he's going to give the title back to you. And when Seth Rollins comes back and wants that title back from Braun Breaker, because remember, Paul Heyman promised Braun that he would win that title soon, Braun is going to be reluctant to give the title back to Seth Rollins, and that can plant seeds and create some friction. They could have went that route. You didn't have to do a whole turn in order for this whole thing to happen, but they did. And you know, if Seth Rollins is a legit hurt, if it's worse than what we think, I can't dispute that. You know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not his doctor, so if it is that, him being written off of TV makes a lot of sense, but I feel like they didn't have to do it this way. But then you have the other theory that this whole thing is a ruse, and my guy Oracular, my guy Alex, so many other people, they believe that this whole thing is a setup by Seth Rollins and the government. And I was playing Seth Rollins setting this whole thing up, because the reason why they're doing this is to make it seem like that Seth Rollins doesn't have any support. So when he goes against CM Punk at Saturday Night Main Event, at that point in time, you can have the fourth member come out of the Vision, which could be Austin Theory. And if it is Austin Theory, then you got Seth, the Braun Boys, Austin Theory versus CM Punk, Jay, Jimmy, and Roman at War Games. And that could be your War Games match. And I know we saw the standoff between the MFTs and the Wyatt Six. I don't think that's going to be the War Games match. If it is, cool. If not, I don't think it will be. Again, they need a woman to be a part of their team. People have suggested that Nia Jax will be a part of the MFTs, but there's nothing to suggest that that's going to happen yet. So it's safe to believe that that probably isn't going to happen that way. But if it happens the way as far as Seth Rollins setting this whole thing up, it could be very interesting, because if it's not going to happen that way, what's going to happen between CM Punk and Seth Rollins is we're going to get promos where CM Punk is saying, Seth, you don't have anybody on your side. You have no support. You're all alone. This is literally the same promos that we got between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns when the bloodline went away. That's literally what's going to happen. But I think what they're going to do is try to do a spin on it, and he's going to set this whole thing up in order to set up CM Punk. And Seth Rollins is petty enough to do this whole thing. The only thing that I don't like about it is I like that it's surprising. I like that it didn't come out of nowhere. But if they're really still a part of the group, if they're still together as the Vision, I feel like doing it now kind of took away the surprise and impact of it if it happens in the future. And maybe the story they could tell is that Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman, they got a taste of what it's like to turn on Seth Rollins, and they actually liked it more than they thought, and they will really execute it down in the future. And to me, Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins do not have a lot of chemistry. I think Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker have better chemistry, so if they do that, then I think that would make sense. But at the end of the day, it being a ruse would kind of make sense, would be on brand for the pettiest of them all, Sniper Seth Rollins. That would make sense to me. But I don't know. I don't know if you needed to pull the trigger on the turn on either situation, but I would rather it be a ruse than anything else than to pull it on a injury because of Seth Rollins. I mean, let me know in the comment section. What do you think? Do you believe it's a ruse? Do you believe this is legit to write Seth Rollins off TV? Or do you have a third theory that can support this whole situation that makes sense? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace. Have a great day.